So it's just a lot of revs and dump the clutch. What do you typically do? What would you say, 4,000?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, let's just... Yeah, even that wasn't enough. Oh, revs to 75, doesn't it? 40 miles an hour. And that's 55 into third. 60. Hello and welcome back to another Out of Spec Reviews video. If you're unfamiliar with this car, you should go back and check because my colleague Jordan made an amazing NC ownership video. Basically everything you need to know if you're interested in purchasing a Mazda Miata this NC generation. His is pretty special, so I'm going to ask him to walk us through this car, tell us about it, and then I'm going to drive it for the first time, fresh off of getting some nice modifications. We have some amazing roads to go for a blast in the NC Miata.
So yes, this is my personal Miata. I drive a lot of fun press cars, but this is the one I always come home to, and I love it. This is a 2012 special edition, which kind of combines the sporty bits of the club and stuff and the creature comforts of the Grand Touring all into one. This is the first time Mazda tried to do a color contrasting hardtop. So it actually has a folding black hardtop and black mirrors, black wheels. They weren't sure how people would like that, so they only made a couple hundred of these. Turns out they sold like hotcakes, so everyone wants them. But I had a friend wrap the windshield surround black. I think it looks great. The Indies, of course, did that, and that's what really made me think of that. I also have painted red brake calipers, you know, sporty, but not trying to be a poser. I didn't write Brembo on them or anything. I just did coilovers. That's one of the biggest modifications that made an incredible difference. These are Meister R Zeta CRD coilovers, which really make it less boaty in the corners. This was kind of called the boat Miata by a lot of people, just because it's so big, relatively speaking, compared to some of the other Miatas. It's only a couple 100 pounds heavier than the original, so it depends what you think there, but that makes an amazing difference in the corners, less floating feeling, and we'll get to more of that in the driving in a second. I did an Apple CarPlay head unit. I did a spoiler that's wrapped black as well. Backup camera, new gauge faces. I took a shift knob from an ND Miata. I love the ND shift knob. The NC one wasn't very special to me. And this little bit on the hood. I don't know, what do you think about that? I'm on the fence about how I feel. It's different, it's got this natural indent, so I just wrapped it black. It may not stay that way, but it's a fun car, fun to go slow in, I guess. Less than 150 horsepower, especially up here at altitude. We're at about 6,000 feet or 5,000 feet. So we're gonna go take it into the canyons and get Kyle's impression and see what he thinks of the NC Miata. So I also did an exhaust, not the whole part, but I did the very back, I guess axle back you could call it, the muffler. It's a Goodwin Racing Super Q, which actually stands for super quiet. It's their quietest exhaust, but it made an incredible note that really, it's what it should have come as from the factory. Take a listen.
Hey Jordan, thanks so much for letting me have a go in your Miata. Let's just start by cruising. This is a, what year is it again?
This is a 2012.
2012.
So it's the NC2. There were 3 separate sub-generations of the NC, which is the 3rd generation.
Interesting.
So this is the first facelift, I guess.
Yeah, and you would say this car, you were trying to explain earlier, like the ND early ones are a little bit fragile, and this one you can pretty much do whatever you want to it all day long,
so
right?
NC2, which started in 09, that was when they introduced forged internals on the engine. They beefed up the transmission. It's just pretty much invincible.
And it feels so good too. Look at this thing, wide open throttle, singing out to red line. Let's see, it revs all the way to 75, right?
Yep.
There we go. Takes a little while to get up there, but you can just drive this thing pegged all day long. Absolutely amazing. Look at that thing just cruising through these corners.
I moved to Colorado and it was only a few months before I was like, I have to have something fun in the corners.
And so you got this after you had moved to Colorado?
Just after, yeah. This is my second NC Miata though. I first had the itch back in Missouri, but there weren't the driving roads to really appreciate it.
It's amazing, I'm just pegged. We're barely gaining speed, it's so funny though. And you know, the little modifications you've done haven't really been to power. The engine's the same, it's just the exhaust is a little different, right?
Yeah, and that's a negligible difference. I mean, one of the biggest performance improvements is actually the suspension I just did, keeping it more planted. I mean, all four wheels feel like they're really working, whereas before I kind of felt like one or two wheels were always struggling to keep contact in a hard corner.
It's amazing how we just shredded up the Mercedes S-Class a couple hours ago, and now we're in this, and it's just a night and day difference.
Yeah, completely different car. This is half the weight, far less than half the power.
Yeah, but it sounds good too. Like, transmission's amazing, first of all.
Yeah.
Really love. Just gets right into gear, feels awesome. But this thing just sings all the way out too.
Yeah, so I guess we'll talk power. This is a 2-liter MZR engine, co-designed between Ford and Mazda. And it's an inline 4. And it'll do 167 horsepower, 155 pound-feet of torque. Those are not very remarkable numbers.
Right.
Especially up at altitude where, and at wheel horsepower, it's probably far less.
This has got to be 120 wheel horsepower
Yeah.
here. I think, look, that's wide open. 30, 35, 40, 45, 50,
Back to the
55.
back to the roots of the underpowered British
60.
roadster.
We're also going uphill. And you just got to keep this thing wound up the whole time just to get it to move. But it's fun. And that is the slow car fast answer, right?
Yep.
Which is really a good time. And yeah, just the act of not slowing too far into a corner, because you don't have all the power and torque in the world to get you back up to speed. You know, it does make you a better driver.
Yeah.
'Cause it helps you carry entry speed, which is always a scary thing to do. So, you know, if you're really shredding this on track, you're just like right on the limit the whole time. And you can keep up with some really high power cars in Miatas.
Yeah, I was at a Porsche autocross event, and actually the fastest time of the day was an NC Miata.
Oh,
of course, so
interesting.
much of it is about the driver.
Yes.
And he was an incredible driver, but these things are very capable. Of course, you'll lose cars in the straight, especially if you go on like a real track.
Right.
But in the corners is where it really jumps out. So a lot of people will, you know, turbocharge or supercharge these, and then they really become a track beast.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm really enjoying it. And you also mentioned you have a limited slip diff, right?
Yes.
I can feel that too, just coming on and off the throttle in the corner. See, when you let off, it tucks the nose in. Very common of limited slips.
It's great in the snow. I do daily this all winter in Colorado, much to people's surprise.
That's pretty amazing to me, actually.
Yeah, I have a separate set of smaller 16-inch wheels with beefy snow tires, and it's a blast.
And here we are, ripping it. So that Tacoma was nice to let us go by. And now we're just cruising up one of the best little roads around the house. And I gotta say, I'm really enjoying it. You know, in terms of your tire selection, we're nowhere really near the limit, but overall turn-in seems responsive. I don't hear much tread yaw. That seems nice. Like, I was expecting a lot more noise from these tires. And I guess part of that also comes down to this car just is so light compared to a lot of the stuff that I'm used to driving these days. These very heavy electric cars, of course. This thing, you can just bomb right through this section of road under power, and it's amazing. No, you just keep it pinned and it goes. What an absolute blast. Oh, you see the UPS guy shredding?
That's great.
So yeah, I gotta say, I'm really enjoying it. I think the modifications were needed. I'm glad you didn't go too stiff on the suspension.
Yeah.
And I think that's a mistake a lot of people make. Like, soft doesn't equal slow.
No.
And
Soft,
so,
I mean, these on the softest setting are still a huge improvement over the stock suspension.
totally. And, you know, I hadn't driven this car with all of the good club stuff and comfort stuff, but I have driven other NCs, and I have to say this just feels just a bit sharper, and it's soft enough where it doesn't really beat you up. WRX going for a rip there. Dropping gears, wide open throttle. Here we go. Yeah, it still lets it work, and we'll have like a really bumpy section of road right up here where we're able to see this sort of you know, compliance over these bumps, which helps keep tires on the ground and helps keeps speed up. Got a downshift. We were just in the torque monster of the S580. I gotta say, there's something so nice about driving a manual transmission car on a road like like this. Yeah, look, it soaks up the massive bump wonderfully.
Yeah.
The sun's killing our video, but that just happens this time of year and this time of day. It's so bright. Wow. What an amazing little hot pocket rocket. Now, if you just put like a twin turbo V8 in here with 500 horsepower, that'd be right up my alley. It seems to have a lot of mid-range too. I feel like I used to have to rev my NB out a little bit more than this particular car. This one seems to like an upshift of around 7 grand, maybe not all the way up to 7,500.
Yeah, it's got a pretty good torque curve. But yeah, your V8 comment doesn't surprise me, given that I like the 4-liter Supra, or 4-cylinder Supra, and you like the 6-cylinder Supra.
Yeah, I like something a little rowdy. But this is still an absolute blast to just keep the pedal to the floor everywhere. This is always a blind corner, so we want to make sure no animals are in the road, and then we'll go. Yeah, look at this. You can just keep it to the floor.
Yep.
And now we get to the best section of road right up here. The braking performance is awesome. We're going to need second, maybe even first up this way. Let's see. If we can keep the speed up. It's a little dusty. We got to be mindful of this. Big power. Barely accelerating here, folks.
A turbo would help.
Yeah, well, we've gained so much elevation from the base. We're at, what, 8,000 feet up here now? Yeah. Something like that. And here it's just, you know, it's doing a good job of getting us up.
Yep.
It's just, and then all the road salt everywhere. You don't want to go flying into these corners. But it's just so nimble and fun and enjoyable that you can just rip it around as much as you want. We'll have a lot of bright sun right here. And, oh, the roof's at the perfect height for my eyes. Well, thank you for letting me have a blast in your NC. It's been a while since I drove a Miata, and it's been a while since I drove a nicely tastefully modded Miata.
Yeah, we'll have to do another one after I do some more performance mods. I mean, like I said, I'm such a visual aesthetics person, so I started with all the how it looks things, and now it's on to more of the performance things. So yeah, we'll see how it does the more I do to it.
Yeah, definitely a great little back road blaster for sure. Yep. It helps with driving skill, and there's just, it's the answer. Miata's always the answer, right? I think I've never met a car enthusiast that doesn't love a Miata because they change direction so well, and this is arguably the least enthusiast Miata. Right? Don't a lot of people not like NCs for some reason?
Yeah, it's like the hated stepchild of all the Miatas, even compared to the Fiat 124, which, who knows, yeah.
I don't understand that, because this car really is just so fun. And like, even just from a handling perspective, we come down here and just kind of slalom it, like the way that it just gets around. See, it retains the softness that we really needed, but it's still understeering.
Yeah.
And that's what you want. You just throw it into a corner and you're good.
Yep.
How does it feel to be driven in your own car?
It's weird.
Is it?
I just spent 5,000 miles behind the wheel of this car, and this is the first time I've been in the passenger seat in a while.
And yeah, so well, let's just go back down another way. We'll go down another great road over here. It just sounds great. Great exhaust choice. You just keep it pegged everywhere you go. Absolute blast right here. Thanks for letting me have a go.
Yep, anytime.
We'll see you guys on the next video. And if you want more NC Miata content,
yeah, go check out my YouTube channel, Flywheel Films, and that's where all the videos and all the things I've done to this are, with more coming.
Yeah, more coming, and I think we're even going to do a little Miata versus challenge here on Out of Spec too. Maybe versus the JCW.
Oh yeah.
Some other stuff. We'll have to do some track battles.
Yeah.
Got to get this car out on track.
It would be so great.